Hey fellow tamers and Digidestined, it's Mike, aka Sanaku from Overground, and today we're going to be profiling the purple deck that we played in the most recent episode of the Late Night Testing Series. This is it's hard to describe. It is a MetalGarurumon purple deck, but also has a Milleniummon Turbo alternate win condition. Now, Milleniummon Turbo is kind of a deck in its own right, and MetalGarurumon Abuse is kind of a deck in its own right as well. And I've kind of mashed them together. So while the concept of each deck individually kind of exists in their own right, the theory behind this deck was kind of a personal challenge of mine to see if I could build an Omnimon deck build the framework of an Omnimon deck, but in a color that was neither red nor blue. And this is kind of the result that I settled on. So let's go ahead and get into it, because I've got a lot to say about this deck. It's a lot of fun, and it's very different compared to what I've been playing over the last little while. Another quick side addendum is that I don't have a lot of practice with purple, period, mostly because we don't actually have many copies of many of the cards. For example, we only own one Beelzemon, so while traditionally Milleniummon Turbo would play the full Impmon suite to warp into Beelzemon right from a rookie to a mega, and then you could put Milleniummon on top without having to ride the entire chain. That's the quote-unquote turbo aspect of that deck. We don't have that capacity. So instead, the deck is built to go into Milleniummon as an alternate win condition, but through the entire, ride chain up to Mega, similarly to what you'd see in standard Omnimon decks. Also, we don't own a full playset of Piedmons, so we can't really take advantage of the Piedmon value deck. We do have a playset of Lilithmon. However, in testing, we found that the Lilithmon decks were just a little bit harder to get a really build that we were satisfied with. And while we did post the one Lilithmon deck in our 1.0 Rainbow series, after further testing, there was kind of a lot of things that we'd want to change about that deck, and I'm probably going to save those changes for when we get 1.5, because that card pool kind of addresses a lot of the deficiencies in that deck. So, again, sidetrack done. Let's go back to this deck here. So we're going to start off with the Digi-Eggs, and we're going to start off with 4 copies of Yammon and 1 copy of Pagumon. Now, again, in traditional purple lists now, Pagumon is generally there, and especially with Impmon as well, is there to kind of burn through your deck and mill your resources into your trash pile so you can use your trash pile as a resource itself. This version of the deck, since it plays a little bit differently, instead we're going to focus on Yammon because we want to give our Digimon as much extra DP power as possible. And since we're trying to get up into those big megas like Boltmon and MetalGarurumon, and then eventually Milleniummon, Yammon lets our Digimon kind of survive a lot of security checks against the opponent, because let's say, for example, we get a Boltmon at 13,000. That means the only thing that can kill it in our opponent's security is either an opposing Milleniummon or an Omnimon. Same thing with I guess MetalGarurumon is a little bit different. It'll go to 12,000, so there's a lot more things that can destroy it. But Boltmon specifically is kind of are going to be our main attacker in this deck. And once we combo him with Yammon, he's generally indestructible for the most part, outside of, removal cards in general and stuff like that. And the one Pokemon is just there because it doesn't hurt to send cards to trash sometimes, because we can fuel bullets for MetalGarurumon to revive. It can fuel bullets for Night Raid to bring back. But in the grand scheme of things, we're not interested in reviving more than what our level 3s are. So while Piedmon is interested in anything that's 4 or lower, we're only bringing back level 3s in this deck. So that's why, we're not going to be using a big mill engine in that respect. So let's move on to the rookies. So we got a full 14 rookie lineup. Generally, in a standard purple list, again, you would probably see between 15 and 16 rookies. But again, this is built on that Omni deck framework. So our ratios for the entire different levels kind of follow suit of what you'd see in a standard deck in that respect. So we've got 4 Tapirmon. This is on deletion, you get to draw 1. 4 Demidevimon. This is just a general 2-cost vanilla that helps us choke our opponent out in certain situations, as well as flood the board because it's so cheap. 3 of the Gabumon with on deletion inheritable, we get to draw 2, discard 1. And 3 of the Tsukaimon with on deletion get to gain 1 memory. Gonna move on to the champions. So we've got standard champions here. We have 4 Devimon, 4 Vilemon. Devamon, probably one of the strongest champions in the game, with that strong retaliation ability. Kind of, it can run into any Digimon and take it out with it. Velamon's just a blocker. You need blockers to survive. And then the most interesting addition in terms of champions, because, we're not playing stuff like Wizardmon. Instead, we're playing the 3 Garurumon. And this Garurumon has the inheritable that once per turn, when one of your other Digimon is deleted, you get to gain 1 memory. So next we're going to move on to the ultimate lineup. And this lineup we're playing 4 Myotismon. That's because Myotismon is the cheapest ultimate to evolve into in purple, period, for 2 cost. And then we're playing 4 of the Garurumon. And this Garurumon reads, when attacking once per turn, you can delete one of your Digimon to unsuspend this Digimon. You can kind of connect the dots, kind of where these combos are going. Again, the purple MetalGarurumon concept is not new, so this is probably combos, if I'm explaining, you've probably heard this a million times before. And then, so then we're going to, I should probably make a quick addendum here. The most glaring omission here in terms of ultimates and level 5s is that we're not playing Chimeramon. And the reason for that is that I wanted to build this deck to use memory sparingly, and we want to actually actively try to choke out our opponent as much as possible. And as opposed to standard purple decks, again, that would play something like Chimeramon or Piedmon, things that are generally very, very expensive. Instead, we want to use our memory very efficiently in this deck, and that's why we're just playing these ultimates instead. So moving on to the Megas, we have 4 Boltmon. He's basically the purple Plesiomon. He's the purple Phoenixmon. He's just a big 12k body, vanilla, 2 cost to evolve into, super cheap, super good. He's just, and again, comboed with the Yammon, he's generally going to be running over absolutely everything in the format right now. Next, we're going to move on to the purple MetalGarurumon. And for those unfamiliar, the purple MetalGarurumon reads, when attacking, you can play 1 purple level 3 Digimon from your trash without paying its memory cost. Now, the purple MetalGarurumon plays similarly to how you would play the blue MetalGarurumon, where the blue MetalGarurumon lets you take out one of its sources, whether it be 3 or 4, and play it as a separate Digimon. Purple instead lets you pull a Digimon out of your trash as long as it's a rookie. So while similarly they both kind of leave behind a body for you to evolve into or to attack with on the following turn, unfortunately, the purple MetalGarurumon has the drawback of it only being a level 3. However, that does not detract from the power level of this card, especially when you combo it with all your fun little cool inheritables. So, the ideal stack to get into a MetalGarurumon is going to be ideally any rookie, and then you're going to use the Garurumon, the Garurumon, and then the MetalGarurumon. And then you kind of get a cool chain of combos going. So when you can attack with MetalGarurumon, revive something, you can destroy what you've revived with this inheritable to unsuspend this Digimon, and then you'll actually gain 1 memory back with this Garurumon. So what this effectively does is it allows you to have technically evolve this MetalGarurumon for 2 as opposed to 3, because you're going to gain 1 memory back on the attack swing. Furthermore, if you have a Tapirmon engraved, you can bring the Tapirmon back, delete it immediately, unsuspend, and then you actually get to draw 1. So not only does MetalGarurumon leave a body behind as well, if you're using your Garurumon to be more aggressive with it, you've also turned this into a double attacker that's also a draw engine, which again shares similarities with the blue MetalGarurumon, because you can pop out the Gabumon if you have it in its source to draw 1 as well. So this adds an extra layer of consistency to purple in general, which is actually kind of cool. That's just one of the main combos. I'm sure there's a million more we can go over right now, and you might have seen some happen in the video with the match with John as well. But yeah, and then we're going to go into the next layer, which is going to be Milleniummon. So Milleniummon is the purple and black equivalent of Omnimon. So again, he is a 6 cost. He can evolve in a purple or a black. 15 cost to hard play, 13,000. Which is unfortunately not 15,000, but we'll take what we can get. And his effect is that when you digivolve him, you get to return 1 of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. And whereas Omnimon has the benefit of being a double attacker, instead Milleniummon has the cool condition of, on deletion, if he had any cards in his source, you can actually revive him for free. He'll just come right out from the discard pile. You won't be able to attack, obviously, but he's an extra 13k body that you just get to bring out on the board for free. So again, looking back to MetalGarurumon, for example, and you know all of these combos with the Garurumon and Garurumon, etc. If you had a pre-existing Milleniummon up, you could attack with MetalGarurumon, use the Garurumon to delete the Milleniummon. You would gain a memory, and then Milleniummon would come right back on top of you reviving a level 3. So now you've actually gained an additional body while also advancing your game state and gaining more value out of your cards. And if this Milleniummon had any other inheritable of your rookies in it as well, you would actually gain that further. You would be able to draw 2 with Gabumon, for example. You'd be able to gain another memory with Sugaimon. So the main point of the deck is actually to build up to Milleniummon to kind of control your opponent's board, and then you kind of sit on this MetalGarurumon and just start reaping advantage and value from the rest of your cards and the rest of your inheritables. And the cool thing with MetalGarurumon as well is that while you keep reviving rookies, you don't have to keep eating them with Garurumon. You can instead use those rookies to start building up a new stack and keep yourself in the game. So next we're going to go on to the option cards. So this deck plays 3 Night Raid, and Night Raid in this deck plays a little bit differently compared to traditional purple decks. So while traditional purple decks, again, play a heftier rookie count, they also kind of play a bit more of a rush strategy because they're not interested in evolving up the chain, and they're not quite interested in using the Digivolution mechanic. This deck instead uses Night Raid more so as a draw engine than anything else, mostly because you can keep reviving Tapermon. And Tapermon, as always, when it's destroyed, you'll always get to draw 1 card. So that's always something that you can kind of throw at your opponent's security as a sacrificial lamb that you're kind of willing to get rid of, because he's always going to give you something in the end of the day. Night Raid can also bring back anything that has a cool inheritable, so if you have a champion in hand, you can actually further take advantage of that. It also is a really good hit in your security because it lets you get a body on board to start building up a new stack immediately without having to commit to either hard playing a rookie or committing to having to need a rookie in hand to evolve over an egg and then go up the chain. The next 2 options are 2 Trump Sword. This is just an extra form of removal. I would play more, but unfortunately Trump Sword's requirements are a lot stricter than something like Terraforce, for example, and it has to be a Digimon that's unsuspended. So we're just playing 2 because, while it does come up often, it doesn't come up often enough that I would want to have multiples of it clogging my hand. And it's just a cool kind of hit in my security as well. And to round the deck off as well, we're just playing 2 copies of Mat. As the purple Mat, that if we have 2 or less memories that are memory to 3, this helps us from getting choked from your opponent. But also on play, we get to return any purple card from our trash to our hand. So this lets us kind of recycle really cool, important cards that we would need in our combo. Unfortunately, you can't get Milleniummon. I wish it could. If you've run out of a specific Digimon, you can get it back with Mat. If you've run out of a specific option, you can get it back with Mat. But yeah, that is the purple Milleniummon Turbo MetalGarurumon Turbo deck. I'm not quite sure what to call it. I'm sure I've named it something in the title of this video. But yeah, this is just kind of my take and my theory on how to build an Omnimon deck with a purple skin. I've said in previous videos that I've kind of gone through Omni fatigue, and while that is true in the sense of seeing Omnimon literally, I like the play style of the Omnimon decks because I like kind of tempo and control. And this deck, although in purple, which is kind of not necessarily designed the way purple was intended to play, is still very fun and can kind of hit those notes of control and hit those notes of tempo that I really appreciate and really enjoy. So yeah, I'm going to try to get a couple more games in with this deck to kind of test it a little bit more and see if there's anything I would change. If you guys have any suggestions on anything you would like to change, let me know. Again, this is built literally with the current card pool that I own. I only have access to 3 MetalGarurumon right now. If I had access to Beelzemon, I would be playing the entire Impmon package. But yeah, if this is your first time to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you liked what you see, please like the video. And as always, this has been Mike, aka Sanagu from Overground, and we'll see you guys in the next one. So take care, everybody.